Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel LawPutra. This is me Rucha and today's topic of discussion will be difference between rape and adultery under Indian Penal Code. So, in this video we will be learning what is rape, what is adultery, what are the similarities between the both terms which compel us to study the difference between rape and adultery. So, before starting the video, I would like to say that even if you're not a law student and if you're not from a law background, I highly recommend you this video because it is such a human trait that all the members of society should know what these two terms mean and what our law speaks about it. So let's get started with it. Rape is a word we hear every day, everywhere. Even while discussing this word, it gives utmost pain to my heart. But what is this word or a term which is used in newspapers and televisions is defined under the law, and IPC has answer for it. Chapter 16, which speaks about offenses against human body, under which sexual offenses, section 375 defines what is rape. So under section 375, a man commits rape under A, B, C, D. So there are four bifurcation which overall or in generally speaks about a sexual intercourse. So if a man has a sexual intercourse with a woman, then it is a normal thing, But what constitutes to rape? So there are 7 situations or circumstances under which that sexual intercourse will become rape. First, it is against her will. Second, it is without her consent. Third, when she cannot communicate her consent. Fourth, even if the consent has been given but she is under 18 years of old. Fifth, when a consent has been obtained when she was in unsound mind or in intoxication state. Sixth, even when the consent has been obtained by falsely representing himself to be her lawful husband. Seventh, when the fear of death is put on victim's life or someone who is important to her and then obtained the consent. So these 7 circumstances constitute to rape. Okay, so here ends what is rape. So let's see what is adultery. Chapter 20, which speaks about offenses relating to marriage, under section 497 speaks about adultery. So okay, what is adultery? Adultery is when a person is having sexual intercourse with another man's wife without his consent, which is not amounting to rape, is adultery, and here only man is guilty of such thing and not the wife. So A is a person, B is wife of C. So A and B are having sexual intercourse without C's consent and without his knowledge, and it is not amounting to rape, but it is adultery. Okay, and here B is not guilty or she is not the abater or something. She is not punished at all. It's only A who is punished. So this is what section 497 speaks. Okay, a small fact about adultery. So adultery is not a crime in India right now. Yes, you heard it right. It is not a crime in India, but it is still a ground to divorce. So why was that done? Because in adultery, only a man was punished and not a woman. She was not even punished as a baiter also. So it became violative of Constitution 14, 15 and 21 article, and they had to decriminalize adultery. So we cannot blame anyone because Indian Penal Code was drafted in 1860 and Indian Constitution came in 1950. So yeah, it became violative of Article 14, 15 and 21, and they had to decriminalize adultery in Joseph Shine versus Union of India. So put your thoughts in the comments and let us know what you think about decriminalizing adultery in India. So let us see the similarities between the both terms. So in both the circumstances there is a sexual intercourse and it is with a person to whom you are not married. So these two similarities are between rape and adultery. Now let us see the difference between rape and adultery. Okay, so the first point is consent. So in rape, when there was a sexual intercourse, one person had not given his consent to this sexual intercourse. But in adultery, both the persons had given their consent to each other. But here, the consent was not taken from the husband whose wife she was. So here that doesn't matter, because the person with whom the sexual intercourse was happening, that person had not given the consent. So here shows the unwillingness of the person or against the will of that person. But in adultery, both had their will and both had consented to what they were doing. So the basic difference of rape and adultery is rape is against the consent of one person, and adultery is with consent of both the persons involved in sexual intercourse. Okay, so the first difference is consent. So there is lack of consent in rape and presence of consent in adultery. Second is willingness. There is lack of willingness in rape, and there is a willingness in adultery. Okay, so adultery is committed against a married woman, whereas rape is committed against any age group, be it like a baby or a lady of old age. So there is no necessity that the lady should be married or no. It is irrespective. Rape can be committed to anyone, and it is a heinous act. And adultery is a choice, it is an act of choice. You cheat on your husband, so it's an act of choice. But rape is a heinous act and can be committed against anyone. But adultery, the woman has to be married to constitute it as adultery. So there are minor differences, like rape can never be decriminalized in India. It cannot be even given thought of decriminalizing rape in India or any part of this world. But adultery, it has been decriminalized in India, and it is an act of choice. So it is still an offense, but it is just a ground to divorce now. But rape, no, it can never be decriminalized in India or any part in the world. And the other minor differences will be the punishment for adultery is very basic. It is life imprisonment for 5 years. But rape, the death sentence can be given, the life imprisonment can happen, and the minimum punishment is 10 years of imprisonment. And when a rape is committed, it affects the entire society. But when adultery is committed, it affects the parties involved in it. Though it is a crime, but it only affects the parties involved in it or the families which are connected to it. But rape, example of Nirbhaya's case, the nation was in utmost pain. So here ends today's topic. So if you understood the concept, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and until then, stay tuned. Bye bye.